Welcome back, students. Today we are going to discuss Unit 8 Origin and Evolution of Life, Part 2. So, before I start the main content, I would like to inform that the images used in our slides are for education purpose only. We respect intellectual property right of the original creator and owner of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this PPT, have any concern, any issue, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. In this particular video lecture, we are going to discuss these points. Modern synthetic theory of evolution, mechanism of evolution, variation means mutation and recombination, a natural selection with examples, type of natural selection, gene flow, genetic drift, Hardy-Weinberg principle, and human evolution. So, let's discuss all the points, all the related points. So, first of all, Lamarck theory. Lamarck was also a scientist who work in this direction, evolution, and the basic concept, which was actually discussed by Lamarck. Now we are going to discuss all those points, right? So, according to Lamarck, each individual is having some internal vital force in it. With the use of that vital force, he or she or any organism can develop a kind of change in itself. And effect of environment and the need. Second point, effect of environment. If environment is not suitable, so according to the environment and according to the need, any individual can slowly uh, 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 start changing itself. Okay. Third point, and that is very important point which was discussed by the Lamarck, is use and disuse of an organ. Means if someone is using a type of organ, like that time he gave the example of giraffe, just to reach out the long tree leaf, if leaves feed on the leaves of the long tree, giraffe use their forelimb and neck continuously uh, to reach out that long tree leaves present on the long tree. So continuous use of that neck type, slowly giraffe increase its length of the neck. So in this point he discussed this thing, use and disuse of an organ. Fourth point, inheritance of an acquired character. As this character, use of neck, continuous use of leg and forelimb, just to reach out the long tree, this character is acquired by the giraffe. So these are the point which was discussed by the Lamarck. And but this Lamarckian theory of evolution by use and disuse, which he gave the example of this giraffe long neck, is no longer accepted. As one of the scientists of his time frame, of the same time frame, he continuously cut the tail of mice for several generations, just to look after that whether the new generation, the progeny, uh, must have born without tail, but it didn't happen, right? Similarly, some other experiments also performed by various scientists. So his this theory, use and disuse of organ, is no longer accepted that time, right? So Lamarckian theories was not accepted. Then Darwinian theory, which is given by Charles Darwin, and this is comparatively most accepted theory. And uh, Darwin actually tells us that the pattern of evolution, there is a pattern of evolution and certain kind of force which is known as evolutionary force. These two things are the key concept of his theory. And this pattern of evolution, he used the term branching descent and evolutionary force, natural selection. These two terms has been used by Darwin. Some kind of branching descent means pattern of evolution, and natural selection means a kind of force, a naturally selected by the nature, are the key concept for evolution. And according to his theory, these are certain points which he was discussed in his theory. First is overproduction. Overproduction. Second, if someone, a kind of population is reproductively fit and overproduce with the passage of time, then if continuously overproduce, that is the ideal situation. But all the individuals of the each generation didn't exist actually. Why? Because land is limited, sources, food sources are limited, right? So there must be a struggle for existence occur. And what kind of struggle? There are three type of struggle. He said that there are three type of struggle. First is intraspecific struggle. Struggle must be between the individual of same species for the food source, land source, right? And some interspecific within two or three species, struggle for the survival, and struggle for the environment means sudden changes occur in the environment, like high heat, flood conditions, earthquake conditions, right? So different calamities, there are so many calamities. If some individual tolerate these kind of struggle, survive in these adverse situation with the interspecific struggle, intraspecific struggle, and environmental struggle, that is, we can consider as a most suitable candidate, have right to live further. Okay, so according to Darwin, there are overproduction occur in each type of individuals organism, but out of all kind of population individuals, there must be a struggle for existence. As why? Because there is a limited space on the present on the earth, there is limited source. So for the sources and for the limited space, individuals of within species or within two or three type of species fight to each other for their survival, and also for the various environmental factors, right? Environmental changed environment, they have to sustain, they have to tolerate the changed environment. That type of individual is only able to survive further. And third type of the thing which was discussed by the Darwin, or suggested by the Darwin, is variation and heredity. Third is variation and heredity. And according to the Darwin, variation is a slow process. Variation can be very slow, but these variation can be slow, continuous, and directional according to the Darwin. And according to him, variation can be of two type, a useless variation and useful variation, but only useful variations are heritable according to him. Nature actually select only useful variation, and this is how he used the term survival of the fittest. The all the individual who survive in the changed environment, they continuously change change in themselves. Variation occur very slowly, and it's a continuous process and directional process according to him. And these changed things are heritable, they can pass from one generation to another generation, and nature select only those individuals. And that's why he used the term survival of the fittest, and this is how origin of species occur. So these are the 5 points which was actually discussed by the Darwin in his theory. Darwin work is also influenced by the Darwin is was influenced by the Thomas Malthus work. As this scientist, Thomas Malthus also work on the population and competition for the resources. As resources are limited, so obviously there must be a competition between the individual of same kind of group. Okay, so competition for resource lead to the survival of the fittest, where better adapted individual reproduce more. Okay, and Darwin was also influenced by the Alfred Wessel work also. He also worked in the same direction. His conclusion was just very much similar to the Darwin, so he also influenced by him also. So over generation, heritable variation. So over generations, heritable variation that improve resource utilization lead to emergence of new species. This was the conclusion of Thomas Malthus. So Darwin was also influenced by Thomas Malthus' work. Okay. Now, neo-Darwinism or modern theory, because all the things which was discussed by the Darwin is not correct, but later on some other scientists work on the same direction and he just modify 1 or 2 points of the Darwin and then develop another theory which is known as neo-Darwinism. So in which overproduction point is same, struggle for existence is same, intraspecific, interspecific, and for environmental struggle is same. But the in the third point, variation and heredity, all the variations which comes at the germinal level, germ level, are heritable. This is the main important point which further included by other modern scientists, right? So this point was included in the neo-Darwinist theory or modern theory. Means variation and heredity is there, but variations are slow, continuous, and directional, and all the variations who are present at the germline level or germinal level are heritable. Okay, and fourth point is same, natural selection. Then reproductive isolation is another point which further included by the other scientists in this point. Reproductively, if we reproductively isolated a population or a population is segregated, a small population is segregated by the by a barrier to the total population, then slowly it will develop some changes according to the new environment, and this is how new species can develop or origin of new species can occur. Okay, so this is the sixth point. These are the points, means this or germinal variation and reproductive isolation, these 2 points are included by the further in this new theory, new Darwinism theory. So mechanism of evolution, let's discuss this point, mechanism of evolution. The origin of variation, how this origin of variation occur and how the process of speciation occur, this is now also has been a subject of debate. So in the early 20th century, there was a very big name, Hugo de Vries, another scientist. He suggested another theory which is known as mutation theory. He suggested the term mutation theory, and according to him, mutation are large and random and sudden difference. Mutation are large, random, and sudden difference in a population drive evolution. Till now, we have discussed according to the Darwin's theory, variations are slow, right? Random, slow, and continuous. But according to Hugo de Vries, variation occur because of the mutation, which are large, random, and sudden difference in a population, and this mutation drive the evolution. And he termed this sudden variation or random large variation a term known as saltation. So this saltation term was given by Hugo de Vries. Means if there is a population A, if there is a sudden or large change occur in a single step, then immediately this A population get converted into the B population. Okay, so this mutation theory or saltation theory is given by the Hugo de Vries. Similar time on the same time during the Darwin time, as Darwin was a naturalist, Mendel was also working on garden pea, and he worked on the genetics point of view. Several generation he has studied of pea plant, how character from one generation to next generation pass, and he used the term factors for the same, for which we nowadays we are using gene term, right? So Mendel actually worked on the pea plant. He was a botanist. Mendel worked on the inheritable factor, and he that time he tell that there was some kind of factors which actually influence phenotype of the plant. But this was largely overlooked by the Darwin, because Darwin was a naturalist. So Darwin's view, Darwin actually believe in gradual evolution, which is driven by small heritable change that are directional. Okay, so this was the Darwin's view. But he actually Darwin was a, as I just now told you, that he was a naturalist, so he was largely overlooked this Mendel's work. And at the same time, later on, population genetics provide clarity on this concept, right? So this is all about the theory, Lamarck theory, Darwin theory, new Darwin's theory, and then mutation theory, which was given by the Hugo de Vries, right? Now Hardy-Weinberg principle. Hardy-Weinberg principle means the frequency of an allele in a population remains fixed and constant across the generation, okay, and this is known as genetic equilibrium. What is the Hardy-Weinberg principle? The frequency of allele in a population remain fixed and constant and across the generation, and this is known as genetic equilibrium. Allele frequency in a population are stable and remain constant from generation to generation according to Hardy-Weinberg principle. And the gene pool, what is gene pool? Total number of gene and the allele in a population, this is remain constant. Yes, if total number of gene is in a bacteria is 48 into 10 to power 10, then next generation also 48 into 10 to power 10. And each generation, similarly for human, gene pool, total number of gene is same. So obviously total number of allele is also constant, right? So this one is this definition, or this is the conclusion, or this is the Hardy-Weinberg principle. And according to Hardy-Weinberg, sum of all allelic frequency is 1. Sum of all allelic frequency is 1. Okay. So in algebraic representation, if an individual is in, if we discuss a diploid individual, if this is a gene, not gene, chromosome. This is one chromosome and this is another chromosome, right? If here there is a allele named A, here also allele A. So what is the total number of allele? A square. There's another allele, small a, small a. What is the total number of allele? A square. If here capital A, here small a, then 2AB, right? This is how we can calculate, right? So in diploid organism, if P and Q, this represent the frequency of allele A and allele small a, capital A and small a. So what is the frequency of AA? Just now we have discussed what is the frequency of small aa. This is A and this is A. What is the frequency? Obviously P square. AA, P square, frequency of small a and small a, which they denote with Q. So that is Q square, right? And frequency of capital A and small a, this must be 2PQ. And as you know, this is the presentation in a binomial theorem, binomial expansion, P plus Q total square. So P square 2PA plus Q square is equal to A, means total number of allele is number of total allele present in an organism is constant. This is the principle which is mathematically proved by Hardy and Weinberg. Right. Now, evolutionary changes, difference between observed and expected frequency indicate evolutionary changes. Differences between observed and expected frequency indicate evolutionary changes. Okay, disturbance in genetic equilibrium lead to the, if genetic equilibrium is there is a kind of disturbance in genetic equilibrium, because this is the constant in number. If any kind of disturbance in this genetic equilibrium, then this lead to the evolution. Okay, so what are those factors which affect equilibrium? Like gene migration or gene flow, means movement of genes between the population, add new allele to a population, or changing frequency, right? Like if this is a population, a group of population, if move from this particular side, this move of group of population move from this side, then what happened? After some time, random change in the allele frequency occur. As you can see, this is the ancestral population, this is the ancestral population, and this is the founders population. A small population gets separate out because of genetic drift, means random change in the allele frequency. Then there are two type of balls, green and red, present in the, or we can say two type of individuals, red or green, right, in the ancestor population. So after so many generation, you can see both the type of balls, red and green, are almost 50-50% are there. But when a group which is known as founders population, a small group or small allele group separate out, then slowly in the initial phase, number of green balls are more, as you can see over here, green balls are more. But after so many generations, what will you can analyze then 0.8, 0.6, 0.5, 0.4, 0.3 and 0.2 like this. So number of red ball get increased and green one 0, right? And this is known as founders effect. And because of this, random change, significant change, can cause the development of new species, right? So this is known as genetic drift. Genetic drift means random change in the allele frequency can result a significant change leading to the new species, which is known as founders effect. Now, mutation and recombination is another factor which can change the equilibrium, genetic equilibrium, means introduction of new allele, introduction of the new allele or shuffling of gene during gametogenesis can cause mutation, lead to the new phenotype and obviously new speciation. So these are certain factors which can change the genetic equilibrium and lead to the evolution, right? So now let's discuss the natural selection. Natural selection actually favoring the advantageous heritable variation. Nature always favor the advantageous heritable variation. So increase reproductive success of better adapted individual. Nature always support increase reproductive success of better adapted individual, causing stabilization and directional change or disruption in the population trait. So there are three type of graph. First one is known as stabilization, this one is the stabilization, then this one is the directional change, and this one is the disruption. Okay, normally There are three type of individuals, as you can see in this particular graph. Some belong to the small height, some is large height, and this is the medium height individuals. So normally nature select medium height individuals, so that time this peak get high on the individual medium height size, and this is the narrow and tall type of graph you can obtain. When there is a directional change in any direction, then this time peak shift towards any one direction. Okay, and if there is a kind of disruption, then the main thing means the medium height individual get suppressed, and two peaks you can obtain two peaks, and this type of graph is known as disruption in population rates. Okay, so this is how we can obtain three different type of graphs: stabilizing, directional change, or disruption in population rate. Now let's discuss a brief account of evolution. As we have already discussed in the part 1, that first cellular life appeared around 2000 million year ago. 2000 million year ago, and mechanism of evolution from non-cellular macromolecule to cell is still unknown. Okay, but some cells could release oxygen through the reaction similar to photosynthesis, and this is how single-celled organism evolved into multicellular forms. And by 500 million year ago, invertebrates had formed and were active. At what time? 500 million year ago. This time. Okay. So in early phase, after 500, invertebrates develop at 500 million year ago, and 350 million year ago, jawless fish, coelacanth fish evolved around 350 million year ago. This one, and then different kind of seaweeds and some plants were appeared at this time 320 million year ago. The first land invading organism were plant, followed by animal. So this is again you have to learn, the first land invading organisms were plant, not animal. Okay, first plant, then animal. Okay, fish and strong fin evolved into initially fish and then fish to amphibian at around 350 million year ago, and then amphibians evolved into the reptiles with thick shelled eggs. Modern descendant including turtle, tortoise, crocodile, they all belong to this particular group. Reptile actually dominate the earth for about 200 million year ago. Different kind of land reptile evolved into the dinosaurs, with some returning to the water. Okay, extinction of dinosaurs including Tyrannosaurus rex disappeared around 65 million year ago. Around this time, 65 million years ago. What was the reason? Reason are still uncertain, but some theory suggested that because of certain kind of climate change or evolution into the bird, because of this reason, suddenly these dinosaurs get extinct. At that time, when dinosaur on their peak, first mammal just look like a shrew or mice develop, and these were viviparous and protect their young one. Okay, mammal become dominant after the decline of reptile only. Okay, unique mammal evolved in different continents due to continental drift. Aquatic mammals are also there, like whale, dolphin, seal, sea cow. These are belong to the aquatic mammal category. Now, special case of evolution of special mammals like horse, elephant, and dog also occur. And now, let's discuss human evolution. And the final evolution comes towards the human, and this is the most successful evolution story. Why? Because of the presence of language skill. These are present in the human only. And another very important quality which is present in the human, self consciousness. Okay, that's why this is the most successful evolution story. Now let's discuss origin and evolution of man. Early primates developed at about 15 million years ago. They are of two type, Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus. Dryopithecus are looks more like the ape, while they look like the ape, and Ramapithecus more looks like the man. Okay, they both walked like gorilla and chimpanzee. So early, if question asks you about the early primates which were there on the present on the earth about 15 million year ago, Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus are these are the two examples. And after that, hominids which were there present on the earth 3 to 4 million year ago, and their fossils are found in Ethiopia and Tanzania state, indicating they are upright walking primates. They are found in the eastern Africa. These primates were about 4 feet tall, sorry, right? Then Australopithecus. They were found about 2 million year ago. They lived in East Africa grassland, and they hunted their Mm, hunted they use stone weapons for their hunting purpose, and but primarily they eat fruits. Okay, after hominids, Homo habilis come, and they actually consider the first human like being. Okay, this Homo habilis, this smaller one, short-heighted one. Okay, their brain capacity was between 650 to 800 cc. They didn't eat meat. And after that, Homo habilis. They were present on the earth about 1.5 million year ago. They You can compare this Homo erectus with Homo habilis. They were comparatively taller than Homo habilis, and their fossils were found in the mm, Java. Their brain capacity was also comparatively more, means 9,000 cc, and they likely ate meat. Okay, after that, Neanderthal man. Neanderthal man was found at about 1 lakh to 40,000 year ago. They lived in the northeast, east and central Asia. Their brain size again increased 1400 cc, and they used hides for their protection and buried their deads. Okay, after then, the main or modern man, or most recent developed man, or we can use the term Cro-Magnon for the Homo sapiens. This is the most modern one. They arose in the Africa and spread across the continent. They developed into different kind of races according to the environmental condition, and modern Homo sapiens appear during the Ice Age, means 75,000 to 10,000 years ago. Now let's discuss cultural evolution. So initially, they all type of humans which develop time to time, Cro-Magnon man, they have very much interest in to develop different kind of art. So some rock shelters, or in some caves like in India also, Bhim Bakta rock shelter, some prehistoric art cave are there actually, and they emerge about 18,000 year ago. Agriculture also began by these individuals around 10,000 years ago, Cro-Magnon man, leading to the, and this shows human settlement on the same place, and subsequent growth with decline of civilization from the part of human history. Now some other evidence, hematological evidence for evolution, like hemoglobin structure and ABO blood group system. If you compare hemoglobin of human and primates, there you can find out some common ancestry between these two, similarities in hemoglobin among various species. Similarly, for ABA blood group also, global blood type distribution reflects evolutionary pressure like disease resistance affect survival and reproduction. Similarly, third point, you can consider blood clotting mechanism also as a evidence. Evolution of blood clotting system shows similar system in primitive organisms evolving into the complex system in the mammals. Another environmental adaptation like hematological adaptation, hemoglobin variation in high altitude or deep underwater individuals demonstrate natural selection of optimizing survivals. Okay, now one experiment was performed by the leader work. This is known as leader work replica plating experiment. What is the purpose to discuss this experiment over here? Just to determine if the bacterial resistance to antibiotic due to pre-existing mutation or induced by the antibiotic. Means mutation is already present in one's DNA strand or gene sequence, or it is developed because of the certain kind of pressure, like in this case antibiotic. So these this is a master plate of bacteria. Just use a sterile volvate block and just put a impression of this master plate on this block, and then put this master plate into the two different a petri plate. One petri plate containing ampicillin, another doesn't have a ampicillin. And after certain incubation time, means 1 day, you can find out there are as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colonies are there on the master plate. Here also 5 colonies. On the plate in which there is no ampicillin, no antibiotic is present, all 5 colonies are, you can see colonies present, all 5 colonies are present. While on the plate which is having a certain amount of ampicillin, only 3 colonies are able to survive. But 3 colonies are able to survive means they are having already ampicillin resistant gene in their genome, right? So uh, initially grow bacterial colony on a master plate, as I just now said, without antibiotic, then transfer these colony to new antibiotic plate using volvate cloth to replicate in the colony pattern. Then only antibiotic resistant colonies grow on the new plates. Position of resistant colony matched to those on the master plate. And what was the conclusion? That mutation conferring resistant exist before antibiotic exposure. Means mutation is already there. Their particular colonies are already having ampicillin resistant gene in it. Okay, so this was the conclusion that mutations are random and these are not directional by any environmental factor. Means because of the presence of antibiotic, that bacterial colony develop mutation? No, already mutations are there in certain colonies in which they are having antibiotic resistant gene. They are survive on the antibiotic plate, antibiotic containing plate. Those are not having that gene, they are not able to survive. Okay, so this is the conclusion that mutations are random. These are non-directional by environmental factor. What is the significance of this experiment? This actually support the natural selection acting on pre-existing genetic variation. Means genetic variation doesn't develop because of the environmental change. Mutation is a continuous process and it is already present in the individuals. Okay, and nature only select only those individuals which are having that changes. Okay, so these are the pre-existing genetic variation. So because with the help of this experiment we can understand the antibiotic resistance mechanism also. Now role of mimicry in natural selection. Natural selection through mimicry occur when a species evolve to resemble another, gaining to survival advantage. You can see there are two type of picture. One picture is viceroy butterfly, another is monarch butterfly. Okay, so these two type of butterfly look very much similar, and this monarch butterfly, this lower one, is are toxic and distasteful to the predator because they ingest milkweed plant. They ingest milkweed plant, so predator didn't find them very much tasty. Okay, so predator learned to avoid this monarch butterfly because of their unpleasant taste, and as predator just recognize this monarch. So this viceroy butterfly, which are actually non-toxic, just mimic the phenotypic pattern of monarch butterfly, and they also, this resemblance protect this viceroy butterfly from the predator, and predator avoid eating them too. So this is how this second type of butterfly protect themselves. Similarly, malaria and natural selection, there was an enzyme, glucose 6 phosphodehydrogenase. It is a type of enzyme which actually help to protect RBC from damage. Okay, but some individual doesn't have this enzyme, deficiency occur in some individual where RBC doesn't have this enzyme, and that time this RBC are more susceptible for oxidative stress. So this plasmodium, which is a parasite mainly causing this malaria, actually infect RBC, and so after the infection oxidative stress occur in the RBC, which, and it cause an inhospitable environment for the parasite because of the oxidative stress, because glucose 6, that particular enzyme is not present in these individuals, so thereby protecting, because of the absence of this enzyme oxidative stress occur in the RBC, and that is oxidative stress create an inhospitable environment for the parasite, thereby providing protection from the malaria. So all those individuals which are having inefficiency glucose 6 PD phosphodehydrogenase enzyme in it, or those individual with glucose 6 PD deficiency in it have survival advantage. So this is how this type of mutation shows beneficial effect for them also. Similarly, third example is sickle cell anemia and malaria. Sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease is a disease which is caused by a mutation in hemoglobin gene and leading to the production of abnormal hemoglobin, sickle cell like this kind of structure, sickle cell like structure, like, okay, and where in this particular type of structure oxygen level is low, right? So sickle cell hemoglobin cause RBC to deform in a sickle shape, this kind of shape, which can lead to various health issues. So individual with one copy of sickle cell gene and one copy of normal gene are present, right? So this heterozygous conditions provide a protective effect against malaria too, because plasmodium parasite has to difficult to survive in this altered RBCs. Okay, so in malaria endemic region, individuals with sickle cell trait, or we can say heterozygous individual, have more survival rate, right? Similarly, comparison with the chromosome of non-human primates, like human have 46 chromosome, while this other, their relatives like chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan have 48 number of chromosomes, and difference two chromosomes, right? So difference is due to the fusion event in human ancestry forming chromosome 2 from two ancestral ape chromosome. Over 98% of human DNA is identical to the chimpanzee DNA. 98%. Only 2% is differ. Okay, so genes are located in the similar position along with the chromosome in both human and non-human primates. Genetic difference between human and non-human accumulate over about 6 to 7 million years ago. Fossils also show evidence, and molecular clocks support the time of divergence. And now these comparisons actually highlight the shared evolutionary history and close genetic relationship between human and non-human primates. Now, mutation. What is mutation? Mutation is a change in a DNA sequence that can occur in any organism. Okay, so let's discuss different type of mutation. Point mutation, when there is a substitution of an nucleotide occur, insertional insertion of a nucleotide or deletion of nucleotide occur. Chromosomal mutation is second type of mutation where duplication of chromosome, inversion, translocation or deletion can occur. Third is genomic mutation, means polyploidy. Okay, so these kind of mutation, so mutation actually introduce variation at genetic level in a given population, and this is essential for natural selection, as we discussed earlier also, and for the evolution also. So beneficial mutation actually enhance traits that improve survival and reproduction in specific environment, right? Mutation can alter reproductive mechanism or behavior, leading to the reproductive isolation. Accumulation of mutation, accumulation of mutation along with the natural selection and genetic drift create genetic difference between the population, and this is how new speciation can occur. So mutation drive evolutionary change by providing genetic variability and enable adaptability. So mutation play a crucial role in speciation by fostering genetic divergence and reproductive isolation. Okay, so this is all about the this particular chapter, original evolution of life. I hope most of the things has been cleared now. Still you have any question, any doubt, please let me know. We will discuss it later on. Till then, take care, bye bye, and keep learning.